Well, I'm sitting here in the dressing room of the Bohemian Football Club. Stephen Doyle here speaking to the brand new manager of Bohemians, Declan Devine, on behalf of all the members, supporters, season ticket holders and people who come here to see Bohemians every week. Declan, you're very welcome to the club. How does it feel to be the manager of the big club?
It's amazing, to be honest, Stephen. It's something that I'm very proud of. I'm very privileged also to be here as the footballing figurehead of such an amazing club. The history, the tradition, and the success this club has had over centuries is something that I am extremely proud of. But as I said already, it's something that I can't celebrate. It's something that we're not patting ourselves in the back. There's a huge amount of work to be done over the coming days and weeks to get a team especially ready for next season. But we also want to finish this season on a positive note. So it's something that myself and the team of people behind the scenes have been working hard this week. We'll hopefully have some news coming out very shortly. But it's a huge privilege. But again, as I say, it's time for work, and it's time to get the head down and get a team that reflects the people that support this club.
What have you been up to since Derry City?
To be honest, I took a bit of time out. I have been offered a couple of jobs where it didn't fit for me. It wasn't an opportunity of winning trophies. I felt it wasn't the right fit, so I've been doing a bit of scouting work for a top English league club, and I've been out and around a lot of games. Obviously, being a bit of a pundit for a TV station here as well, and I've just watched a lot of football from afar. I was hoping for the right opportunity, and this is an opportunity that, in my wildest dreams, I couldn't have imagined it would have landed on my lap. But it's something that, as I say, I'm coming down here. I'm not looking to mess about. I'm looking to come down here and bring success back to this amazing football club.
How did it come about that you became the Bohemians manager?
It was quite quick. Last Tuesday, I'd done an interview. On Wednesday, I spoke with the board again, and thankfully I was offered the position. Yes, there's been other people interviewed for the posts, and it looked at one stage it was going one way and another way, but that's the nature of the game. You never know what's around the corner in this sport, and it's important that whenever you meet people that have the heart and soul of the club at their own heart, that was something that really appealed to me, and it was something that I can really relate to in terms of I want passion, and the people behind the scenes have so much passion. I want work ethic, and the people behind the scenes have work ethic, and we mirror those all together now, and it's something I'm really excited to be here and try and drive on.
Yeah, because it's something I think maybe supporters from other clubs or people looking in at Bows, there's a lot to admire about the club. The club maybe gets ribbed sometimes over some of the stuff that goes on off the pitch, but there's a brilliant culture at this club. There's I suppose a very welcoming culture you see with the refugees who are being brought to the games each week, that kind of stuff. There's been a lot of stuff done with the jerseys being sold and money being donated to really good charities as well, that kind of thing. But also I suppose that has to feed into the players, into the dressing room and into the manager as well. Is that something that you've admired yourself?
Listen, that's the fundamentals I've been working off. This is the people's club. And we have to get a team that reflects that. We have to have a team that's ready to fight for every inch out here. We have to have a team that represents the people that's paying hard-earned cash. The people that's doing all these hours behind the scenes is the lifeblood of this club. But the top of the pyramid is the first team. The next step down is the 19s and the ladies teams. We've got to improve all aspects on the playing side of the football club, because the work that's getting done on the other side in the community is second to none. And it's something I'm extremely proud of, and I'll be lending my hand to everybody here, whether it's working with refugees, whether it's working with the disability team, whether it's working with the ladies team, and especially the academy team. So I'm here full pelt. I'm here to work and help everybody at the club and give whatever I can of myself to try and make the club a complete success.
And was there demands made of from the board maybe of winning silverware? Because I suppose that's one thing. Keith Long brought great success to this club over the last few years. There's been some great adventures in Europe, coming second in the league, really against all odds with the amount of money that he had to spend compared to other clubs, and also with the amount of changes that he had to make to a squad each season. But I suppose there is a restlessness within the stands now when you go to games, that there is a hunger really now for a trophy. The club got so close last season, losing out in the FAI Cup final to a penalty shootout. So is that something you feel there is pressure there to win a trophy?
Well, I think first and foremost, I think the job Keith done in terms of the transition, a couple of nights a week training, to taking it to another stage in terms of competing for European places, and obviously a kick of the ball away from winning the FAI Cup. And listen, I've lost 2 cup finals: the League Cup final to Dundalk on penalties. I've lost a Setanta All Ireland Cup final to Crusaders on penalties, and it's fine margins, and it hurts for a long time, but that's all in the past. We've got to strive to bring silverware to this football club. We are in a position this year where it hasn't been good enough. We're in a position in the league that we should never be in. But ultimately, you will be judged on silverware, and that's what I'm here to do. I'm here to build a squad over the next year or so that's really going to compete at the top end of the table. You see the investment that some of the clubs, the top 2 are investing in the game at the minute. But for me, it's about good people. Having good people around you, having hungry people that's going to represent this football club and leave everything on the pitch. All I'm interested in now at the minute is the next 3 games. I want to see that we have people here that's willing to stay here and fight for the jersey, fight for the fans, fight for their careers, and be here long term if they want to provide that spirit of a mentality of fighting for the football club. And if we can do that, we can certainly build in terms of trying to achieve silverware, because that's what I'm here for. I'm not here to finish 3rd or 4th or 5th. I want to be in that top 1-2 bracket of the teams in the country.
And I think supporters will be delighted to hear that kind of talk. And they will, I suppose, the reaction maybe, Declan, to be honest, when your name was announced was a lot of people thinking, well, Declan's a trophy winner. He's done it in the past. But then they might also look at the Derry City team when you left it. Look, you took that Derry team again when you went in the second spell. They were in a really rough patch at that time. But then before you left, I know there was a lot of things going against you at that time, and I suppose people might remember the game here, when Bowes got those late goals to win that match 3-1. I hate bringing it up, but what would you say to fans, just maybe ease their concerns a little?
Well, if I look originally at my first post, obviously Stephen Kenny left Derry. I was given the manager's job. My first year, we qualified for Europe. We got the Setanta Cup final, as I spoke about. We got the FAI Cup final and won that. So that was my first year of management. The second year of management, we qualified for Europe again. The club decided they wanted to go a different direction. That was fine. I moved on to work in international football, which as a young coach, it was something that taught me different formations, different tactics, seeing how other countries were preparing games for, and especially working at the level I was, it gave me an opportunity coming up against really top teams, how I set my team up to defend properly. So that was something I was happy to move on and do. But I was actually in Estonia, and I got a phone call to see if I'd be interested in taking the job again. And listen, I jumped into it. But the club wasn't in a great place. They had just finished 8th in the table. I kept 4 players out of the squad. And we went about our job of recruitment in terms of bringing in good people, good hungry people that wanted to play for the club in the right way. That year we qualified for Europe again. Started the next season, and we were on 40-week contracts, so anybody had done well, like Greg Sloggett Jr., for instance, I brought over from Colchester. They then attracted attention from other clubs and moved on, and you couldn't blame them because they were on 40-week contracts in that time. So again, it was another rebuilding job, and 4 weeks into the season, the pandemic kicked in. I have publicly stated I found it extremely difficult during the pandemic to manage and bring people together that had just met each other 4, 5, 6 weeks earlier. So that was a difficult time. The 18-game season came and we had no continuity in our group. It was kind of everybody came back into the city and it was difficult. There was no spirit. They hadn't changed together, for instance. They were getting out of the cars and coming in. And I'm very much about spirit and team unity. And I found that extremely difficult. So that was fine. It wasn't that good. We actually went to Cork, the second last game, knowing that if we had won that game, we still were on a shout for Europe again because it was so tight. We drew that game and then won the last game. But the following season, the remit at the club was completely different. The remit was about going local, keeping a base of young local talent, which Derry always had, and that was difficult because you were giving people their debuts that possibly weren't ready for their debuts. So that was the way the game went, that season went. And listen, it's results business. I was the first to hold my hand up and say that season the results weren't good enough, and that is the be all and end all. But I look back at my time at Derry on both occasions with pride. 3 cup finals in 4 seasons, qualification for Europe. won in the FAI Cup. So all in all, in 4 seasons and 6 games, it was quite successful in my opinion. But yes, there was things I would do differently. Yes, I've learned from the mistakes I made, and I have to just grow as a person, grow as a manager, grow as a coach, and hopefully all those positives and negative setbacks will make me a better person now here at this football club.
I mentioned already about the brilliant few years that Bows have had, but it has gone pretty badly wrong this season. And look, I'm sure there's a number of factors, and you may have even had enough time to look under the hood and see what exactly is going on. But from what you've seen, and I think you've been watching Bows closely for a long time now, what's your own kind of assessment of what's gone on this season?
Well, obviously there's been a lot of change. Lost a lot of players over the last year and a half, 2 years. But fundamentally for me, this club, anytime you ever come to Dalymount and prepare a team to come to Dalymount Park, first of all, you got to win the fight. There's always a spirit about the team that they never back down, they never give you an inch, they never give you a second. I haven't seen that this year. I think they've been easily beaten this year. I think it has lacked a bit of character and a bit of togetherness. But look, that's just some of the points that I have seen from the outside. I think it has been a bit soft, and we have to fix that. The be all and end all is you can't win games in the League of Ireland if you're soft, and this is what I'm asking from the players for the following 3 weeks, is that we put up a bit of a fight, we treat the games with respect, we understand that the supporters are paying money that is very difficult to come by at this current moment in time, and that in return for the supporters coming on the gate, we have got to be together as a group. We've got to fight for every inch in the game. We've got to fight for every point. And we're all fighting for our futures. I'm fighting for my future from the minute I come in this door. And the players are exactly the same. There's really good people here. You know, I look at Derek Pender, for instance. I look at Trevor Crowley. I look at all the backroom staff. People that really care about this football club. We got to get that right across the board. And if we can do that, there's no doubt that we can bring success back here.
Those 2 men you mentioned, are they staying on your staff?
Well, again, look, it's going to be a new dawn in January when we go full time again, proper full time. We'll see how the staff are fixed in terms of their jobs and where they are. We've had some discussions at the minute. I would like everybody at the club to still be here on the backroom staff, but we've got to improve. We've got to get better. We've got to make sure that everybody that's here, whether it be staff or players, buys in 100,000,000%. They driving this club on, and as I say, they are good people that have spilt a lot of blood for this club over the years, and hopefully they can stay. But again, that's conversations will be had over the coming weeks.
Now, I can mention this to Declan because this will be going out after the embargo. But another man who's spilt a lot of blood on that pitch out there for Bohemians is Keith Buckley. It's been confirmed he is coming back to the club. How big of a boost is that for you as the manager?
Listen, it's massive. I've spoke to Keith on numerous occasions over the last week. His appetite and his love and his affection for this club is everything I want. He's coming straight on as my captain. He will be captain from today, even though he's in a different country. He's going to be club captain. He is going to be on the WhatsApp groups. He's going to be talking to the players. But look, that's the type of DNA I want about my team. I want that this club has to mean more than just picking up a wage. This club has to be more than just being a footballer in the League of Ireland. It has to be ingrained that it's winning, and Keith Buckley brings that in abundance. And they say I'm delighted that he's going to be here is an understatement. He's everything that I want in my team. But again, he's had a year out, and we're going to get him back in. We're going to work extremely hard. But as I say, absolutely over the moon to bring Bucko back to the club. And as my first signing, I think it's a statement of intent in terms of where we want to go. I've said we want people that's going to fight for the club, and no better man.
Absolutely, it's great news for the club. Listen, I suppose you probably haven't even assessed the future of a lot of the players in the squad. I know you're unhappy with performance of some, as the supporters and members are as well. But looking at a couple of the big names like Ali Cootenley and Bird have been brilliant for Bohemians since they came here. 2 excellent players. There's been speculation around Liam Burt and him possibly going to another club. Are they 2 players you would like to hang on to?
Again, look, Stephen, I am just going to assess over the next couple of weeks. Yeah. Sometimes players have different plans. I'm going to have interviews, meetings with the players over the next week. I want to sit down and say why they want to be at Bohemians, What are they going to bring to the table? Why is it not gone so well this year? But ultimately, there's good people still in the playing side of things here. There's good lads that have maybe been dragged down a little bit this year, that have lost a bit of confidence and lost a bit of self-belief. But there's very good players still here that, yes, we want to keep. But I'll decide all that with the coming weeks and see. The games don't lie. The games don't lie that we've seen, and the results don't lie. So it's a fact of, for me, having an assessment, looking at who wants to stay at this club first and why they want to stay, but also who I want to stay and who I want to keep and build my team around.
The full-back situation is something as well that I think is concerning people. That's maybe something, I don't know if you want to kind of... There's players there that could be used. Maybe some players that went that could be brought back. The likes of Paddy Kirk, I know, is maybe one player that a lot of supporters talk about who's got bows running through his veins. Is he somebody you might even consider, you think?
Listen, it's an open book at the minute, Stephen.
Yeah.
I'm not going to say here who I'm looking to bring. I have got targets. I have a list as long as your arm, but we'll just keep scoring through lines and scoring through names. As I say, I'll first of all assess what's here at the minute, and then we'll see where we need to improve and we need to get better. But I've publicly stated I want people at this football club that want to play for Bohemians, that love the club, that want to come here and achieve things. And as you say, there's lots of players out there that would be very fortunate and lucky to come back to this club. And I want people here that's going to have spirit, togetherness, hunger, and a willingness to drive this unbelievable football club up that table.
How does and I suppose the club has been full-time in all but name really, but the proper change to full-time football for this club now next season, how big of a change is that going to be, and how big of I suppose it's an attraction to players as well when you're looking to sign players, isn't it? Absolutely.
And the game in Ireland has moved on. The teams that have had success over recent years are teams that are doing things properly off the pitch. It's very difficult at the moment to achieve. This is a very difficult league. It's a very good league, and it's hard to achieve success when you're on a job from 9 to 5 and you're diving off to go to training. A lot of the professional side of things is about rest and recovery also. So we're going to work hard. Believe me, we are going to work hard in pre-season to get our team as fit as we possibly can. We're going to work hard right throughout the course of the season, and players will need to be buying into the complete professionalism that we're going to bring to the club. And if we can do that, then being a professional footballer is something that is a wonderful thing in your life, to be able to class yourself as a complete professional footballer. But on the same side of that is making sure that the structures are right, the training is right, the people around the club is right, the staff and players are right. So there's so much work to be done over the coming weeks. But the one thing I can reassure everybody of is that we're going to work hard.
Will it be morning, evening sessions?
It'll certainly be mornings,
mornings
and afternoons.
Okay.
So it's not a case of coming on for a couple of hours and then dropping the shoulder and heading off. We are going to work. We're going to work. We'll go through all aspects of being a professional football club, from recruitment to our training loads, to our recovery, to our analysis. We have to improve all aspects of the club when we're turning professional.
You'd be, because you've had so much experience in different aspects of football as well, you'd be a very modern, forward-thinking manager, would you?
I would like to think so. I think I've gained experiences. Like, for instance, me and Stephen Kenny went to Dunfermline. I was 32 years of age. Stephen was 34. So, we're in the SPL at such a young age. We learn from success. We learn from failures. Be involved in international football. I've been involved in development. Obviously, being a manager, being a coach, being an assistant manager, being a player. So you got to bring all those experiences together, the good times, the bad times, and drive the thing on, so that when players come in the morning, they know exactly what they're going to be doing, and they love coming to their work. And that is the beauty about professional football. We got to keep moving with the times and not let our rivals get any further ahead of us.
You got some great stuff out of Junior when you were managing him at Derry City. Do you think you could do the same here as well?
Listen, Junior has been very unfortunate with his injuries. The one thing I can tell you about Junior is he's a wonderful person. He is a really good person. He is very much a guy that has same sort of philosophy as me. Of everything has to be based around family. He's a family man. He loves his family very much, and we do this for our families. That's the bottom line. And I like what Junior stands for, but again, I'm sure he'll have offers. I'm sure he'll have options. I haven't had the opportunity to sit down with him and see what his plans are, but I will certainly be talking to all the group and seeing what they want to achieve and where they want to go next year.
Yeah, absolutely. And what's your view on the youth side of things? Because there's a couple of players like Jamie McManus, Aaron Doran. We've seen young players at Bohemians. Like, this is one thing I think Keith Long doesn't get enough credit for, both reviving the careers of some players as well as bringing some young players through and who've gone on to greater things over in the UK, the likes of Ross Tierney, Dawson Devoy, players who will harbour international ambitions as well. And I think Keith doesn't get enough respect for that. But your own views on youth, because the other interesting thing I find when you listen to some of the old Bows players that were here for that double winning team, they talk about a dressing room of men. It was a dressing room, and you even look at the successful teams now. To be fair to Shamrock Rovers, they've got a team of men there. You know, there's not a lot of youth in that team. What's your own kind of view on the balance between youth and experience in a side to be successful?
For me, everywhere I've went, I have looked at developed players. For just off the top of my head, Michael Duffy made his debut. I threw him on at 17 in a Europa League game against Trabzonspor. We got to showcase our best players. We've got an unbelievable guy here in Craig Sexton that's working so hard. I've seen him all week and spoke to him about a lot of young players. But we have to make sure that the time is right for these players to come in. The environment has to be right. Losing games and the way that we're losing them this season has probably not been the best development for some of the players that's here, because they need leadership, they need love, they need care, they need attention. But it'll certainly be a big part of my plans. I'll be going to Tallinn on Sunday to watch the 19s play. I'll be watching them next week here in the cup final. And I have already met the under 19 squad and spoke to them and told them that they're a huge part of my plans, and that the pathway is open. Come and show me that you're good enough and you're hungry enough to play for this football club, then you'll get a chance.
Could you get Michael Duffy down here?
I think Michael's happy where he is now. It took him long enough to get back to Derry, but listen, we're not concerned about anybody else. Yeah. We're not concerned. I don't care what other clubs are doing. We have enough on our plate to get ourselves right. There's fantastic players around this league. There's fantastic players around Dublin that we need to attract. I don't think we should be going too far afield for too many players. Yes, you have to go outside Ireland, but I want a team that knows this league. I want a team that is sprinkled with quality from wherever they are, but I want a team that represents and knows what this league is about. And for me, that's about being hard to beat first and foremost, having an attitude and a desire to go through the pain barrier to win games, and wherever they come from, so be it. But I want the nucleus of squad having a bit of feel for the club and knowing that this is a very difficult league to play in, and you don't get anything easy in the league.
Yeah, because that kind of brings me into, did want to ask you about style of play quickly, just because, and I know it's something you don't go in too in depth at the moment until you assess your squad, but how do you envisage your team playing? What kind of football do you like? I know you want to be hard to beat. You like to be tough. You don't want a soft team. But, you know, I suppose even looking around Europe now and you see kind of teams playing around the place, is there anybody you admire? Or do you have your own particular way that this is what I want, this kind of football I want to play?
Listen, for me, I want to play the most attractive style of football that we can, but we got to get the right players to do that. We got to have good recruitment now. We got to make sure that the players fit into the way that I want to play. I like to aggressive centre backs. I like two full backs that are going to push on and attack. I like midfield players that's going to be aggressive but also very creative, and I like a front three that defend from the front but also go and attack. And we want to entertain, but we got to get the right people in that fits those moulds, and we got to make sure that the people, when they come in here, know exactly what is expected of them. We want to entertain. Money's hard to come by, yes, but listen, at the minute it's about making sure that what's here I assess properly. I want to speak and see who wants to be on this journey with me, and then we'll start going and planning for the way that we're going to go about our jobs next year.
And it is an exciting time to be coming into this club when you look at off the field. So like we're watching the stand being knocked down across the road. I know there's hope to boost the attendance over the next year or so. Well, it's definitely going to have bigger numbers. I think it's an extra 1,500 next season. But over the next few years, there is hope that this new stadium or the renovation of this stand and new stands then being built across the way. So it's a really exciting time because, you know, the club are having to turn away, you know, possible members and that kind of stuff. So do you feel that kind of excitement yourself, and is it something you would like to be here for a few years?
Listen, I'm on the door maybe 4 days, and I've loved absolutely every angle that the club is coming from. People are stopping me in the street and wishing me good luck. It's been a bit of a whirlwind, and listen, as I say, I'm planning on being here as long as I possibly can. I know what football management's about, but I'm going to give myself every chance of having success. I'm going to surround myself with good people, people that love the club, and I'm going to do everything I possibly can to fill this stadium on a regular basis, whether it's getting redeveloped or whether there's 1 stand, 2 stands, 3 stands. We got to make this a really difficult place for everybody to come to and enjoy our success in terms of winning individual games, building towards winning trophies, producing our own players and entertaining our supporters and having that rapport with the support that we're all as one. The players, the fans, the backroom team, the board, everybody should be as one, and we drive this place on to get the success that we really need.
Great stuff, Declan. I've no doubt the club and the supporters will be right behind you from day one. It's been a pleasure speaking to you here this afternoon, and I wish you the best of luck.
Thanks very much, Stephen. Looking forward to it.